Hello students, today I am going to explain my mother at a 66 poem number 1 class 12th. This poem was written by Kamala Das. In this poem, the writer was explaining the relationship between her mother, young daughter and mother, how complexity the relationship, but though she explained very well. Kamala Das was born in Malabar, Kerala. She recognized as one of the Indian foremost poet. Her work are known for their originality, versatility, and the indigenous flavor of the soil. Kamala Das, she was born in Kerala, or she is very famous poet. Her works are very original with different kinds, and of also the flavor of the natural flavor of the soil. Kamala Das has published many novels and short stories in which Madhavi, in the pen name of Madhavi Kutty, she also write her work Malayalam under the name of Madhavi Kutty. Her works, some of works in English include the novel Alphabet of Floods, a collection of short stories Padmavati, The Herald, and the Stories of 1992, in the addition of 5 storybooks of poetry. These are the works of her. She is a sensitive writer and who capture the complex subtitles of human relationship in a lyrical idioms. My mother at a 66 is an example. This is the best example as she wrote this poem in a lyrical idiom. About this poem, I give you some information. The poem has been written in a lyrical idiom. It's give the example, best example, and the information about the human relationship. The poet had gone to meet her mother and is now driving back to the airport. On the way, she noticed the pale face of her mother and is struck with an instant realization that her mother is very old and the poet is very upset. The significant about this poem is that the whole poem is in a single sentence punctuated by the commas. Okay. Driving from my parents' home to Cochin last Friday morning, I saw my mother beside me. Doors, open mouth, her face ashen like that of a corpse, and realized with pain. Driving for my parents' home, that means the writer, the poet had gone to visit her parents' home near Cochin on a Friday morning. She was returning. On her way to the airport, she noticed her mother sleeping beside her in her car. On the way to airport, while she is noticed that her mother's mouth was open and her face was very weak, like a lifeless, like a dead body. It expressed so much pain and she felt because of separation from her daughter. Unko realization that the author is realized that because of the separation from her daughter, her mother is so much pale and weak. In the first one paragraph, the figures of speech are there, alliteration, simile, and the repetition. Okay, simile in her life in the line was third number line. Her face ashen like that of a corpse is a direct comparison. That is the ashen, that means a pale, and corpse, that means dead body. Okay, he is given the direct comparison so that the figure of speech is a simile. Then she realized with the pain that she was as old as she looked, but soon put that thought away and looked out young trees sprinting and the married children spilling out of their homes. Here the word sprinting, that means running, and spilling out, that means rushing out. Okay, married, that means happy. In this one para, the poet was sudden realized that old age had crept upon her mother. It was the reality that she found hard to accept it. The poet was pained to see her mother's weak face. She took her attention away from her mother. That disturbing thought arise in her mind, and she looked outside the car. Because the car was moving, the young green trees appeared running to the opposite direction. She, her our author, also saw some group of children rushing out of their homes to play. These are these are the things our author reminded her own childhood when her mother was young. The young green trees represent how fast the time had flown. The children represent here as a youth which was a full of life and energy. Both the young trees and the children's represent sharp contrast to her mother sitting beside in the car, and that suffering from the ill health. Her mother was suffering from the ill health. Okay? In this line, alliteration repetition is given in the this one paragraph even also, but the different one figure of speech in the line, that is, and looked out a young tree sprinting, that is, okay, the trees are giving life. यहाँ पे the trees are giving human quality, that is sprinting, that moving. Okay, it's called personification in this line. Even the overstatement was also given, the trees are spreading, that not possible, so it is a hyperbole. Both figure of speech is given in this line. Okay, then another one, life, the married children spilling out to their homes. Here the married children, that means very happy children, running to their home. Here the group of children is compared to the liquid spilling, that means moving. It is also that metaphor is given in this line. Okay, security check standing, I'm sorry, this one line was remaining, but after the airport security check, standing a few yards away, I looked again at her, when pale as a late winter moon, and felt that old. This one paragraph I explain. Okay, everything was done when she was reached. Our author was reached to the airport. Young children and trees were able to divert her thought away. But after that reaching to the airport, passing to the security check, the poet again looked at her mother, who was standing few yards away from her. Her mother looked lifeless, dull like a late winter moon. Here is the comparison given, Mother looked lifeless and dull like a late winter moon, which cannot be seen clearly because of the mist and the fog. In this one paragraph, the direct comparison is given, that I looked again at her, when pale as a late winter moon. Here is a direct comparison, so that here is a simile, is a figure of speech. Okay, the next one paragraph, and felt that old familiar edge, my childhood's fear, but all I said I was, see you soon, Amma, and all I did was smile and smile. This one last one paragraph is really important. First I'm explaining the figure of speech. This one paragraph, see, the line is, and felt that old familiar edge, my childhood's fear. Edge, that given the human quality of being old and familiar, that means here is a personification is given. Okay, in this one paragraph, our writer once again, when she saw her mother's face, she felt so much pain. As she was going and leaving to her mother, Her old familiar pain was back, that in her childhood she has one fear that she would lose her mother. Suddenly came back to her, so she tried to hide her emotions behind her smile. She didn't want to reveal her feelings to her old mother, and, and bade her farewell with a smile. She gave hope to her mother and herself by saying that they would meet again, and keep kept on smiling. And the poem is here over. Okay, I hope you all are understand this one poem. Thank you.